Hello, everybody. My name is Dell, or well, nothing else actually. That's pretty much the only name most people call me by. Anyways, we're going to be watching Till Foundry today. I'm realizing that my VTuber model is a little bit wanky and it's in a different area than usual, but it's going to be okay. What I would like you all to do is check me out in different places, but we'll tell you more about that later. Let's see where we get into this.
It's a sunny day at the beach. The sky is blue, balloons float lazily over the water. From beneath the waves, a curious tentacle reaches out and drags one down into the depths. Three enormous eyes open to examine it. This vast, unknowable Eldritch being is instantly amazed. You just don't see these sorts of things in the cold, dark void. The strange, vibrant object it's found is from another world. Who knows how many other fascinating things like it are just above the surface, waiting? What sort of beings are out there capable of creating something this wonderful? The creature falls in love with the human world, its mysterious inhabitants, its dazzling colors, unknown until now to the murky abyss. It wants nothing more than to make itself known.
I have a few things. By the way, I'm going to be pausing multiple times throughout this just so I can elaborate and add in my own 2 cents because reaction video, I have actual things to say. But I love the concept of him being beyond comprehension, just deciding, let me stare at these ants, you know? I've made a few different creatures like this, though.
Finally introduce itself to this alien world above. But what if the humans are afraid? Will they know it's friendly? Or will they only see a monster?
I mean,
This is the premise of a 2008 Flash game called I Fell in Love with the Majesty of Colors, created by Gregory Weir. Think The Little Mermaid if Ariel was Cthulhu. In the game, you are
that's...
the Eldritch being. In each
Huh.
level, you help or harm humanity depending on your choices. By playing as it, you're meant to empathize with it. It doesn't want to destroy the world, it just wants to understand it. Which is weird, right? Because Eldritch horrors are like as far from humanity as you can get. Just looking at one is usually enough to drive the characters in the story to madness. They're incomprehensible, it's part of their job description. And yet, people clearly do want to comprehend them. There are
I've been seeing clips of this fucking thing, and it mirrors and watches people and continuously will act as if it is doing things like the person it's watching. I wonder what the actual context of this is, though. It's definitely an interesting scene, especially with the light and darkness dichotomy of actual shadows and the light being on one side, meanwhile the room's walls are different. But going back, I love the idea of an Eldritch Horde that just decides that it wants to be nice to people. Mainly because I have an overwhelming need to find out that something that is beyond my comprehension doesn't just hate me, much like a lot of the world seems to.
so many stories where humans try to do exactly this, and sometimes even find success. Against all odds, they find ways to connect to the incomprehensible. They reach out to the unknown, and the unknown reaches back. Eldritch horrors are, in a way, the final boss of empathy, the most difficult thing conceivable to relate to. And
If I remembered... No, I don't have that link. Sorry, this is a very cool YouTube short. I forget what the artist's name is, and I'm trying to think about it. Basically, there's a knock on a door, and just a bunch of shadow fucking hands are petting some grown ass man, and it's adorable. People need connection, and we don't find it with any people. So, we look for it in the things that aren't people.
humans create them this way, almost as if you want that challenge, as if you want to believe that despite everything the Necronomicon might tell you,
Hey,
you can still
I said it.
always find a way to empathize, even with an eldritch horror.
I still believe this fucking introduction is like crack. It just gets good and gooder every time.
Really quick, before the video starts, I just want to tell you about Foundry behind the machines. There is a lot that goes into making this show, and a lot you will probably never see. But our humans, bit by bit, have started to share that process. Like, for this video that you're watching right now, here's a research stream one of them ran long before the video concept was even ever in our pipeline. And here's the forum post where they brainstormed the idea with the community. And here's where they got feedback from everyone on the thumbnail. It's all right there in our Discord server, available to anyone who's...
I want to join, but I realized that I like reacting to these for videos, so then I basically just have spoilers in my face. Also, tell Foundry supporters 69 420. Good taste, good taste, good taste.
Supports Foundry anywhere. You could become a YouTube member, you could join our Patreon community, you could even subscribe right in Discord itself. All of them cost exactly the same amount and will get you access to anything and everything behind the machines. Foundry has always been about more than just video content. We make these videos to inspire and to be inspired. A big thanks to everyone who joins us in that process. We couldn't make this show without you. Okay, thanks so much for listening. Now, on to the video. This is Queen Yarnum from the game Bloodborne. You don't have to know anything about the game to know that something very, very bad happened to her. She's a ghost. She's bound at the wrists. What you probably noticed before anything else, her abdomen is very bloody and very, very pregnant.
Yep.
According to Bloodborne lore, she was impregnated by a Great One of the game's many godlike cosmic beings. If that wasn't bad enough, the Great Ones then went on to steal the baby from her as soon as it was born. That baby, Murgo, is now trapped in another dimension, an infant god himself crying out for his mortal mother.
That is so fucking dark.
The game is full of this kind of thing.
I mean,
almost every character you meet has been in some way tortured or transformed by the influence of the Great Ones. And you don't even really get to know why. Why are they hurting so many people? What could they possibly hope to gain? The answers are unclear, even to scholars of Bloodborne lore. In fact, the lore was so difficult for me to parse, I had to interview an expert just to make sense of it. Shout out to Honeybat on YouTube, who really helped with this video. If you want to hear someone who really knows what they're talking about when it comes to Bloodborne, go watch her video essay about it. It is amazing. But Byzantine as the game's lore may be, it does give you just enough information to start putting the pieces together. The Great Ones are harming humanity, but humanity is harming them as well. Priests steal their powerful blood to sell as medicine, even as it turns the townsfolk into monsters. Scholars experiment on the gods in a single-minded hunt for forbidden knowledge, which goes just about as well as you'd expect it to. One character, Maria, even defiled the corpse of a Great One by stealing its embryo. In Bloodborne, humanity may go to destructive lengths to understand the gods, but to the Great Ones, humans are just as impossible to fathom. They are, in the game's words, sympathetic in spirit, caught together in a cycle of pain and loss that's lasted for generations. Their shared suffering puts them at odds.
In that context, is it even like a thing of, okay, we're the ones who are suffering here because we're both hurting each other? Yeah, like, it's honestly fair game. It's like, why do y'all do this to us? And it's like, why do y'all do what you do to us? It's like, because it helps us. Does it help what we do to you help you? No. Is it better that we hurt people because it helps us, or because we are just doing it for the sake of hurting people? Because in one of our situations, we're doing it for materialistic gain, and the other one, we are just doing it for the sake of the game.
But also binds them together. For the most part, the Great Ones aren't blind, Lovecraftian abominations. They aren't pure evil. They're in pain. Just because they hurt people doesn't mean that that's always their intention. Even in the case of Queen Yarnum, that was just the only way they knew how to have children, which they want just as desperately, if not more, than humans do. I have complicated feelings about the Great Ones. I want to feel sorry for them, But then I think about Queen Yarnum, forced to bear that child they wanted so badly. I think of all the other people you meet in the game who they've cursed or trapped or tortured. The sheer cosmic scale of their destruction can't be ignored. And yet, Eldritch horrors are categorically incomprehensible, which, in a way, makes them the perfect exercise for empathy. They don't see the individuals beneath their gaze as people. How could they? They exist in an entirely different reality. If you want to try to understand them, you do so knowing it's an impossible task. When their perspective is literal light years away from your own, just how far can your empathy go? Let's say you could see things the way that they do. If you could see through an Eldritch horror's unfathomable eyes, if you could walk a mile in their tentacles, how would you feel? To me, the answer is lonely. If they exist on such a high plane of comprehension, how could they truly connect with anyone or anything else? How could they even understand each other? All that consciousness, all that impossible knowledge, and nobody to...
I do wonder what the fuck is actually being scrolled in the background. I would, like, try to read it and shit, but it wouldn't be worth it. Mainly due to the fact that the sides are obviously showing words halfway cut off. If those were fully in, I'd go back and try to read them.
share it with. There's a game people have really, really wanted me to play, and I finally did. It's called, wait for it, Slay the Princess. I'll give you a sec to go type Slay the Princess mentioned in the comments. Go ahead. I know you want to. You've been waiting a long time for this. I'll start by saying that the game was not what I was expecting. From the title alone, you get the impression it's another subversion of your typical fairy tale. You play as a hero who's told to slay the princess instead of save the princess. I thought it was just going to be some kind of clever extension of the metaphor or something. But no.
Nope.
It is so much weirder than that. It turns out the hero and the princess are actually two eldritch beings alone in the universe together. You play as an entity called the Long Quiet, a being of permanence and stasis. The princess is an avatar of the Shifting Mound, a primordial force of constant change. They're two halves of the same whole, but were split into separate entities, shadows of what they once were. The princess, as you see her in the game, is only ever a single facet, a single perspective of the Shifting Mound. The Long Quiet responds to each of her forms with different voices of his own, all clamoring for control within the same body. All these two forces of nature have to do to become complete again is communicate with each other. This, of course, is not as easy as it sounds. After all, on a conceptual level, the Long Quiet and the Shifting Mound are polar opposites. For them, communication is a matter of perspective. They literally have to take on a variety of new forms and viewpoints just to interact. Sometimes the princess is a ferocious beast, sometimes a wraith. One memorable
How the fuck and what
time
the fuck?
became the forest itself.
Sorry, what? I know about, like, the princess being weird eldritch. I didn't know she fucking became a whole bunch of shit that wasn't the princess. I can see the beast being a different variant, or even the race, but the fucking forest? Damn.
The Long Quiet responds to each of these with a new and unique personality. Some kind, some cruel, some insufferable, some terrified. Inevitably, each time these interactions result in death. One kills the other. And inevitably, the two are reincarnated into their new respective forms. This cycle repeats, changing a little every time. Sometimes you do slay the princess. Other times, often, she slays you. But each time these two entities try to communicate, no matter how violently or tragically, they understand each other just a little more. If the player chooses, they can break the cycle at last and ascend to absolute reality together. The Shifting Mound tells the Long Quiet what she finally has the ability to express. I love you. Slay the Princess is a brutal, gory game. As I was playing, I watched my character be unraveled cell by cell burned alive, slowly dissolved in stomach acid. But the only moment that really unsettled me was when I got to see my own character from the princess's perspective. In one arc of the game, you and the princess briefly share.
I really don't fucking like the background music. That's actually driving me anxiety. Please stop. What the fuck?
A body. The Long Quiet, who you've been controlling up to this point, steps out of the shadows, familiar blade glittering in hand. He's here to do what you've been doing this whole time. This is what it looks like. This is what it feels like. At that point, I had to wonder, was the princess aware of all the horrors she transformed into? Or was it all normal to her, as the Long Quiet's voices had been to me? It's practically impossible for the Eldritch beings of Slay the Princess to fully understand each other. Just communicating takes a grueling amount of effort and pain. Their situation is extreme, of course, but also oddly familiar. When I look at humans and how you all interact, I have to say, it seems just as hard for you to understand each other. Impossible, maybe. Within each of you is a different, unfathomably complicated perspective.
Let's see here. Greed and green, rage with red, blue is bashful or sorry to some extent, purple is questioning all things, meanwhile yellow is avoiding all people by just trying to hide. Alright.
You all have different lives and ways of thinking, lenses through which you view the world. Can you ever know that you see the same colors as anyone else? Is your red the same as your neighbor's? How could you ever know? In that way, I suppose humans are all eldritch horrors to each other.
Oh, most definitely. Every person is a monster.
One of the first things I did while researching this topic was search for the phrase empathy for the eldritch horror. And one of the first things I found was a game called Eldritch Empathy. Literally our thumbnail text for this one. Perfect, right? Just one problem. It isn't actually out yet. You can't play the game.
Oh.
So, I found a different way to research it. We reached out to the developers and spent some time talking to them about their project. And what I can say now, without ever even having played the game, is that the idea behind it is really, really good. Truly. You should be excited about this.
Foundry-based promotion? Not gonna lie. I like it. I like it. I can trust in these people. Hopefully Foundry goes and told the right things and is able to go out a good promotion.
This one. If I were you, I'd pause the video and go wishlist this game on Steam right now. Here's the basic concept. When an eldritch being arrives in your village, you're tasked with getting to know it. You do this by learning its language. That's the easy part. But then you actually have to use it. And that's where things really get interesting.
Wait, is this the fucking thing where it teaches you a language it's made up? Oh, what the...
This being has been manifesting all kinds of horrors into the surrounding countryside. As you interact with them, you have to choose how exactly you'll communicate. If you're not careful, the simple act of communicating with these creatures could physically wound them, maybe even kill them. Depending on how you play, that might be a desirable outcome.
Sorry. Axolotl with hands? You're adorable! I want to touch you, even though I realize you'll probably disintegrate me on contact.
Language can be a tool or a weapon. If you really want to understand what you're facing, the game gets a whole lot harder. You have to take your time. It takes patience to create the right symbols and navigate your conversations in the right way. But before you even start to speak their language, you have to take the first step. Wanting to know their perspective. Knowing how someone feels can lead to empathy, but knowledge alone won't get you there. It's not just a matter of seeing what's in their head, it takes something more. In Eldritch Empathy, you don't just learn the creature's language. If you want to communicate without hurting each other, you have to consider how you use it. After all, you can speak the same language as someone else and still miscommunicate. That's what happened to those scholars in Bloodborne, the ones who experimented on the gods. They did manage to contact the Great Ones. They tried to acquire their knowledge by forcing one of these cosmic beings into their dimension. The result was
Jesus.
this. It's called the One Reborn, an unstable mass of fused together human bodies leaking fluid and viscera. An attempt to understand, but not to empathize. There are a lot of characters in Bloodborne who want to ascend to godhood. They're after what they call eyes on the inside, a sort of second sight that lets you transcend the limits of the mortal plane. You, as the player, can actually reach that divine status, but only by doing the impossible. You'll have to understand just what makes the gods and humans sympathetic in spirit in a very visceral way. Throughout the game, you can collect 3 divine umbilical cords. Each cord comes from a mother who's lost a child. Each is a brutal testament to the vicious cycle between humanity and the Great Ones. Toward the end of the game, you have the option to consume them. In doing so, you literally internalize this physical connection between the humans and the Great Ones, and bridge that cosmic divide. You're reborn as an infant Great One. You finally get your eyes on the inside.
What the fuck is Bloodborne? I I mm, sorry. While I heard the words and listened to the things, and it told me that you consume umbilical cords, and that deeply disturbs me. But past that, we just need to move past it. No, just keep moving. Just keep moving down. Just keep moving. All right. Yeah, that's gonna be empathy for an Eldritch horror. Um. Nope.
Empathy
Continue.
isn't just a matter of knowing what's in someone's head. It's using your own perspective to imagine theirs. You reach out across that unknowable divide and you get each other. You find ways to relate, not by knowing exactly what they're thinking, but by trying your best to imagine it. You look for the ways that you're sympathetic in spirit, even when you couldn't be further from each other. Empathy is not understanding, but often it's the closest thing we have. Remember I Fell in Love with the Majesty of Colors? The game I talked about earlier where you play as an eldritch creature? Well, I left something out. You're not actually an eldritch horror in that game. In fact,
What
you're
are
playing
you?
as a human, astrally projecting into an eldritch horror through your dreams. In each ending, you wake up with the echoes of that experience fresh in your mind. Depending on your choices, you might be left with a sense of joy, or of grief, or fear. You've lived its experience, and now, if only for a brief moment, you can comprehend the incomprehensible. Empathizing with the Eldritch Horror seems like an impossible task, but isn't that the whole point? Each one of you contains a vast, impossibly complex perspective known only to yourself. In a way, whenever you relate to anyone else, you're already communicating with an Eldritch Horror, and so are they. You're just as much of a cosmic mystery to them. But you still try, don't you? Like in Eldritch Empathy, you translate each other's cosmos into a language you can both understand.
Probably just gonna like this video. Make sure you do that as well. Not mine. Go watch the original. The links will be in the description. But yeah.
Like in Bloodborne, you get eyes on the inside, insight, by finding what connects you together. Like in Slay the Princess, you allow yourselves to be changed by each other's perspectives. It's a conscious effort. It takes real work. It can be painful. It's almost always a little scary. But if you're willing to try, if you really want to see the world through those multitudinous eyes, you can get pretty close. And if you can empathize with an eldritch horror, you can empathize with anyone.
Yeah! Good wholesome message by the end.
I think one of the hardest parts of empathy is perspective. Most people will never get a chance to astral project into an eldritch horror. The only
It's the craziest time being someone who is like me, right? I do DM work, I record, I do a whole bunch of streams, and I check out stuff. It's a crazy time to imagine relating to different things, and also building and writing stories and empathizing with things that you could never truly encapsulate for your own life, or at least have never happened to you, is something that I've found to be some of the hardest, well, not hardest, but is a consistent thing I have to make sure I put effort into when writing characters. You have to be able to empathize with them, or at least understand them, but even then, understanding them isn't enough. I can understand what makes some wrath murderer or villain fucking do things. Like, I understand what he did. I wrote it. But empathizing with him in the way of going, damn, I usually like to fucking get something right the first time, every time. That time when I put my knife underneath their fucking diaphragm and I cut them apart, it accidentally got stuck on some sinew, and that really bummed my vibe. It has the same energy to me as when I'm trying to cook something and I just accidentally dropped the fucking canister of sauces and spices. Something bad happened to my original plan that I was going to do and has ruined the process. I realize I'm talking like a madman, but who gives a fuck?
Only eyes you ever get to see out of are your own. So I suppose the next best thing is to learn to use your eyes differently. And boy, have I been doing that lately. I never thought I'd get into VR. I don't know, I just don't have that much interest in VR chat or Gorilla Tag or whatever. But recently I played a game that there's really
Neos is dope. Neos is dope. I don't fuck with VR channel at the moment.
no other way to say it. It convinced me. The game is called I Expect You to Die 3. You play as a kind of super spy, solving your way through bizarre, deadly, puzzle, escape the room like scenarios, and inevitably dying quite a lot. That title isn't for nothing. But here's the thing. Unlike a lot of VR games that kind of seem designed to sell you a VR headset, lots of cheap gimmicks and sensory experiences, this one is just full of joy. The voice acting is overbrimming with jokes and jabs and little fun character moments. The intro has an actual singer serenading you through this incredible, immersive, almost Art Deco environment. There are endless little trinkets and baubles to find. At one point I crushed a bunch of random objects into souvenir coins for literally no other reason than that I could, and it felt great. At the end of every mission, you're sent this delightful little dessert item that fits the mission's theme. They absolutely did not have to put that in there, but they did. And I loved it. Everything you just saw was my own personal gameplay footage. We don't tend to take sponsorships from a lot of games, but this one, we just had to. It's so clear the devs love this game, and it's just infectious. And they were awesome. They even let us borrow a whole headset just to try out their game, which honestly shocked me. I've never really known sponsors to do stuff like that. And now, I am almost definitely going to be buying my own. I never thought I would, but here I am. If nothing else, I at least want to play through the rest of this trilogy. It was legitimately that much fun. This game has single-handedly convinced me that VR can be worthwhile.
VR is a beautiful thing, and I agree. I will get a headset eventually, because it's really dope, and I like it.
Lucky for me, but all 3 games are on sale right now. Until November 19th, you can get 45% off the entire I Expect You to Die trilogy. Here's the link on screen right now, and here's the code to use at checkout. They're both in the description as well. Again, that's 45% off all 3 games. Link and code in the description. I am honestly not sure whether I should thank Shell Games for giving me what's legitimately been one of the funnest sponsor spots of all time, or curse them for getting me addicted to another game.
You could do both. You could probably
either way, I'd do it again in a heartbeat. Give these games a try. They are so worth it.
Alright.
Anyway, that's all for this one. Thanks for watching, and keep making stuff up. I'll see you.
The links will be in the description. I really need people to go and check those out. Thank you. Oh, and by the way, we're not done for me. I have a few things I want to show off. Number one, look at this little animation thing I'm doing. It should be done by end of the month because I want to drop it on Halloween. But I'm doing a little Halloween animation that'll go up on the art channel. Yeah. maybe one longer form animation every month. That'd be dope. But check this out. It's neat. It needs voice acting on it and a few more effects for the lighting and things, but it's going well. And then after this, we have the animated outro. I was supposed to do the outro. I started hyperfixating on making this mech suit, and it looks cooler. So yeah. Anyways, now it's time for the outro. Please go check me out. Also, I do have commissions and things going on. Let me know.
Hi, you are watching the outro. Congratulations. You can find me on the platforms that are mentioned behind me. Also, you can find me, well, doing work, such as animating, reacting, writing, and editing between these two different mediums. Also, I do a little bit of voice acting. What type of voice acting? These. Also, I'm open for collaborations. Hit me up at these socials. And if you want to pay me for any of these works, you can commission me through. If you'd like to come around and check out some of the campaigns that happen, well, congrats. They'll be on Saturdays at 6 p.m. Central Time. Or you can watch the VODs when they release on Sundays. And don't forget, if you enjoyed this video, you may like it.
We have
If you
quite
want
the
to say something,
large
you may comment. And if you
wait
would come
time,
back
huh?
around support, and you wish
Damn,
to
it
show
is
me
like
that
a
I am
solid
worthy of your
two,
subscription,
4 minutes late.
subscribe.
Just gonna wait for it to get there. Yeah, I'll just wait for it to actually hit the time, and then I'll just lock it in, and then it'll refresh, and that should maybe fix the delay. Hopefully.